You know, our flaws as humans and members of human organizations haunted this sermon from its inception. For instance, going from memory is a mistake I know better than to make. But I wrongly recalled that the 50th anniversary was the diamond anniversary instead of the gold anniversary. So exploring quotes on diamonds, I found a wonderful quote attributed to Confucius. Better to be a diamond with flaws rather than a pebble without. Now, as always, I checked the source of the quote, and the internet abounds with attributions of this quote to Confucius, his real name in Chinese and not the familiar Portuguese westernization. However, upon searching his works, I was unable to actually find this quote anywhere in the Analects or any of the other works of Confucius. So I find it oddly appropriate that this sermon is based on a flawed quote, widely misattributed, about the wrong topic. But, in the spirit of perseverance, let me push forth with this otherwise revealing quote. Better to be a diamond with flaws than a pebble without. Now, as celebratory as our 50th anniversary should be, this is also an appropriate time for reflection on our denomination. Now may be the time to discuss why we remain so small in numbers and less influential than we might wish. Perhaps Unitarian Universalism is a diamond among religious gems, but we are a flawed diamond. For instance, while our members are among the most educated and financially endowed of all adherents of American churches, our per capita giving continues to fall short of national averages. The system of polity that makes our individual congregations strong often works against the creation of any denominational consensus or the development of broadly applicable programming or support services. And our constant bickering over language of reverence diverts valuable energy away from worship and community building. Now, I'm as hardcore an atheist and humanist as they come. But I weary of the never-ending discussions over the use of words like prayer, hymn, holy, sacred, soul, church, worship, communion, salvation, and God, just to name a few. Now, if you have a hymnal, take it out and turn to hymn number 123, the iconic Unitarian Universalist song, Spirit of Life. And look at the next to the last line. If you don't have a hymnal, I'll remind you. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. A few weeks ago I attended a district minister's retreat, and during a conversation I heard one minister talk about a congregation he knew who refused to sing this song because nothing in nature has both roots and wings. Really? Are you serious? Now, if you turn back in the hymnal one more page to hymn number 121, We'll Build a Land. Now, personally, I've always disliked the chorus of this song intensely. My mind still tweaks a little when I sing that once we are anointed by God, we may then create peace. What, are we incapable of creating peace unless God intervenes first? But you know what? I still sing this song lustily. I still gladly include this hymn in my worship services. I love this hymn. Why? Because the positive and visionary message of the song inspires. The other lyrics are incredibly moving. The oil of gladness, garlands instead of ashes, and the oaks of righteousness. And the melody moves me. We'll Build a Land works because the music works. I can take issue with a lyric or two. Maybe the harmony could have had more musicality. Maybe it could have been made easier for those lacking musical gifts to sing. But the music works. Perhaps our anniversary heralds a time for us to become a denomination of the big picture. Could we set aside our anger, our resentment, and our pedantic academic discourse long enough to see the glorious forest instead of the objectionable trees? Paul Carnes, one of the early presidents of our association, in that same 1963 book from which I quoted the reflection reading, said this: "Whether we shall match with accomplishment the greatness of our opportunity, whether we shall have the response adequate to the need, is largely up to us as individuals, but as a religious community. If we fail, it will not be for lack of challenge, but because we, who were content to call ourselves religious liberals, were not worthy to reap the harvest sowed by our religious forebears. We reaped and consumed, but did not sow. Our iconoclasm was our gluttony. We were neither open to the call of our time nor the greatness of the faith we had been given. Our iconoclasm will be our gluttony." I had to look that word up too. An iconoclast is a person who destroys religious images or opposes their veneration. So, shortly after the merger, Carnes was saying that our failure to survive and thrive will come from our inability to create religious language, symbols, ritual, and community, because we are too busy greedily destroying the ones we don't like. Carnes was saying, get over yourselves. Put aside the easy work of demolition and take on the hard task of integration and construction. Recently, retired Minister David Bumbaugh, who spoke here at Smithton for our 150th anniversary celebration in October, said the following, which is particularly relevant to churches like ours with traditional Universalist histories. If we are to serve our people and the world in which we find ourselves, it is critical that we now take up the unfinished product that Universalism brought to the consolidation in 1961. That we have the courage to define ourselves in ways that offer a clear alternative both to the dangerous and divisive orthodoxies that seem to have captured so much of the religious venture, and to the refusal to embrace a clear identity that threatens to sweep liberal religion into commodified, thumb-sucking irrelevance. It is a time for liberal religion to declare freely, clearly, the faith we hold.